what's up everyone? This is Johnny and welcome to episode 55 of the Travel Like a Boss podcast. I'm here with the love of my life, my travel partner, and my new business partner, Larissa.
Hi you guys, I'm so happy to be on the show. I've been a big fan, and Johnny's asked me for a while now, to be honest, but to be honest, I've been so nervous because a lot of the people I hear talking on the show is people I admire and I look up to, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't be on your podcast yet. But I'm really excited to have this chat with him today.
Well, you have deserved a nice spot
my
here.
Spot, I've worked for my spot. Johnny makes me work every day for this spot.
So we are going to talk about how Larissa quit her job and started her own online entrepreneurial journey. But first, let's talk about where we are and what we've been doing this last week.
So we are at the moment in the beautiful Borneo, Malaysia, and I can actually point out where that is now. When Johnny first told me we're going to Borneo, I was like, okay, I'm going to get back to you in 10 minutes because I actually need to go Google search that. So I didn't know a lot about Borneo, but we are at the moment at a beautiful lodge and we are exploring nature and seeing what the wildlife has got to offer us, yeah.
Yeah, literally, if you can see where we are at the nature lodge Kinabatangan River in Borneo, in Malaysian Borneo, and you can probably hear the birds and the bugs in the background. We're outdoors, so I want you guys to all sense this nature around us. I mean, there's literally a river, meters away. There's so much wildlife. I mean, so what have we seen today so far?
So what have we saw proboscis monkeys. They kind of just stand out in my head always. So they're the easiest to remember. We saw proboscis monkeys. We saw the biggest lizard.
It's a monitor lizard.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was actually, when the guy said look for the lizard, I was picturing something like the size of my hand, and I'm trying to figure out where it is in this tree. And then when I finally saw it, I saw the head was the size of my hand. So we saw the lizard, we saw the monkeys, we saw an elephant. I mean, that was definitely the highlight of the day, and it was in our first 5 minutes of going out on the river. So it's wild elephants that were absolutely beautiful.
And these are wild Bornean, I guess, Borneoan pygmy elephants.
Yep, so they're a lot more smaller.
Yeah. And they were just, roamed out of the jungle over to the river, and our guide was amazing at spotting things. I mean, like with the lizards, for example, he would point at it and it would take us 10 minutes to figure out what he's pointing at. And he would just drive, on this boat on the river, and he would just stop randomly and say, do you see that tall grass rustling? Yep. And do you smell the mixture of grass and mud? There's an elephant here.
Like, we saw a snake that it's not a big snake at all, and how he spotted that in the tree to me is insane. I have absolutely no idea how he did that, because it literally took me 20 minutes and 4 people pointing trying to show me where to look to actually spot it eventually, and I got to it, but it took me quite a while.
Okay, so where is Borneo for those who are listening? Alright, it's one of those places where it's in Southeast Asia, and it's a big island, and it actually comprises of 3 countries. Do you know what those are? Yep.
Malaysia,
yep.
There. And the third one?
Indonesia.
Yep.
Perfect. Why do you think no one ever comes here, and why do you think it's not bigger on the tourism circuit? Because let's say all the travelers we meet, what are the top destinations around Asia that they talk about?
We actually had this conversation. I said to you, it's so strange to me that I haven't heard more about Borneo, because it's so beautiful once you get here. And the orangutans, the proboscis monkeys, especially the proboscis monkeys, it's something you cannot see somewhere else. Like, you can't go to Thailand and spot them like you see them here.
Yeah, I mean, they're only in Borneo.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's like a lack of information that's not given, or that people think of it as just nature and wildlife, and they'd rather want the relaxation part of it as well. They want to go lie down on a beach. But in the next few days, we're heading off to an island. We are going to be lying on a beach. So we are going to be lying on a beach. I haven't been there yet, so Johnny's been there, so he can actually say a little bit more about that. But I'm looking forward to it.
And we might do a follow-up episode next week talking about the underwater life and the beach life here as well, because it's incredible. I mean, I'm not going to spoil it too much, but I've been diving all around the world, and where we're going next week is going to be the best ever, and there's going to be some surprises in store for Larissa as well.
So the little town that we stayed at a few nights ago, I literally didn't spot any Westerners around us except for when we went to the hotel. But in the town itself, it's only locals, and that was very interesting to me because, like you said, there's not a lot of tourists around here, but there's so much to see and so much to do.
Yeah, the town we were in was called Sandakan, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I read in a magazine saying that Sandakan has the highest density of millionaires. And at first, it was kind of hard to believe, but it is a very small place, and there's a lot of money in like oil plantations and I don't know what else, maybe some finance stuff, but basically, it's not a big place, and there are some rich people here, so I guess maybe that is true.
But when you walk around, you would never say that. It
Never.
looks quite poor, and I mean...
But they have richness in diversity of wildlife,
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely.
Okay, so let's go back to day one. All right, we flew in from Chiang Mai. Actually, you know what? This is gonna be this is gonna be a little bit crazy.
Started off rough.
I think one of the reasons why a lot of people don't come to Borneo is they think it's very difficult to get to. It's not a well paved, tourist trail. So it's not the chances are you don't know anyone who's traveled there, so you can't just follow their itinerary. And there's a lot of mistakes to be made watching and come here. But it's actually not as difficult. It's actually a lot easier and cheaper to get here than most people think, except when you make mistakes like we did.
Yeah. We made quite a few expensive mistakes.
Yep, but luckily, we've made the mistakes for you guys, and I've written all of it in Johnny's Guide to Borneo on my blog. If you search for it on johnnyfd.com, or you look at the show notes for episode 55, I have a link to it, and it'll basically teach you how to take 2 flights here instead of 4.
And book 6 like we did.
Yep. So that sucked, but has it been worth it?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Okay, so the first day, once we actually arrived, in a town called Sandakan, and we stayed at a cute hotel called
Nak Hotel.
Nak Hotel.
NAK.
And it had an awesome rooftop restaurant, and it was just basically like a hangout bar restaurant. Really good food. Yep. Like surprisingly
good food.
And the breakfast was incredible. You could see, there's a sea view on the roof, and it was very affordable, that place. Do you remember what we paid for it?
I think it was $40 US a night.
Okay, yeah, it was $40 US, but it was a pretty nice place, yep. And great views right by the water. Included breakfast, and breakfast is incredible. Yep. But the only reason why you want to stay there is so the next morning you want to take a shuttle over to Sepilok, and what's in Sepilok? That's basically where all the nature reserves and the sanctuaries are. You can either take a taxi and get ripped off, or we discovered you can take a shuttle for about $2 US, 66 ringgit, which is 60 baht, and it's like 30 minutes. And we got dropped off at our next accommodation, which was
Sepilok Nature Resort, wasn't it?
Sepilok Jungle Resort.
Jungle Resort.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And this place, you're basically in the jungle as well. Decent, like pretty decent accommodations. Don't expect these places to be nice, luxurious places, but it was decent and clean.
The accommodation's really just the bare minimum what you need, because you are never going to be in your room. You're never there. You're always out and you're doing something, and when you get home you're quite tired because you've been busy the whole day. So it's not like you're there to use the resort facilities or use the lodge facilities as much. You go there because it's of the ease of getting to the places around it, like to the orangutan sanctuary and to
yep. And so Sepilok Jungle Resort was a 5 or 10 minute walk to everything. First thing we saw were the
sun bears,
the world's smallest bears. I've never heard of them until I got here.
I never knew about them either.
And in photos, they're a bit misleading. I'll have photos of all the stuff on the blog, but it's hard to tell because it looks like a bear. It looks like a full-size bear.
And they just put photos of these bears in nature, so what do you compare the size to? Like, there's no human or anything next to them.
Yeah, you compare it to a tree,
yes.
and you can't tell. But in real life, when you see it, and you see, you're 10 meters away from it, and you see how small it is, it's cute.
So when they're full grown, they are my size. And
yeah.
I'm 165 meters.
Yeah, which is like, I don't know, 5'4", 5'5".
What...
But yeah, so they're not big, and they're tiny bears, but they look full size. And that place was awesome. So shout out to Sun Bear Conservation
for doing what they're doing.
Yeah. So definitely worth supporting. If you do go there, make sure you bring tripod, maybe a nice camera zoom lens. We met a guy named Robbie that was taking incredible photos. I'll try to link to his site and to some of his photos when he puts that up. But that was probably my biggest regret, is not bringing like a nice proper camera.
So this is one of those trips that's worth investing in a nice camera, because we actually don't own one of like the best on the market. We own like little stuff.
So Larissa had a DSLR, but we never used it. Yeah, just because we never used it, so we sold it. And now this is the first time we were like, you know what, that would have been nice to have. Yep. So after the Sun Bears, we went to, what was it, the Rainforest Discovery Center?
We did go to the Rainforest Discovery Center, and I actually completely forgot about that now that you mention it, just because we didn't see anything there. And I guess it's beautiful, but if you are someone who loves looking at trees and like discovering different types of trees, because they have all the names up there, but for me, I have almost no interest in it, and I really don't know much about it. So to me, it was just as nice sitting at our lodge and looking over. Yeah,
because you're already in the jungle.
So.
Yeah, I mean, so definitely if you are a botanist or a plant lover, go there. If you just want to walk above the treetops and look how big the jungle is, then go there. Or if you are a birder, if you have binoculars or a zoom lens and want to wait around to spot some really rare birds, probably some of the coolest birds in the world, then it's worth going to. But if you're the average, person that wants to see animals up and close, you actually want to, go for a hike.
We are only average when it comes to bird watching, by the way. We're not average at all.
Thank you.
We're way above average, baby.
Well, only with bird
watching, we're not really good at that.
All right, so RDC, don't highly recommend it for most people. But the next day, we went to the Orangutan Sanctuary. Yep. Highly recommended.
That was the one thing that I was the most excited about when Johnny mentioned Borneo, because the one thing I knew about Borneo was the orangutans that I've seen so many times in tour travel guides and etc. And it does live up to the expectation. It's absolutely amazing seeing them in their natural habitat, and just being the way they are, like not seeing them caged up or
so there's a sign explaining that if you don't see any orangutans, that's a good thing.
Yep.
And it was at first it's kind of hard to wrap your mind about it, because you would want to go and see it. You'd want to see 10 or 20 of them if you could. And we, each day we would only see a handful, maybe 2, 3, 4.
We saw the first day, we saw 5.
Did we?
Yes,
oh, nice.
5 at the same time, because they feed them. They have a certain feeding time, which is like by the hour or something.
No, it's twice a day.
Was this one twice a day only?
But the orangutans must, have a nice gold watch on them, because they know exactly what time to come.
Yep. But basically the point is, the less orangutans come means that they are self-sufficient and they can find their own food. They don't need humans. They're not reliant on us anymore to find food. So the sanctuary wants less orangutans coming out for food, because that means that they are doing their job and these animals are actually living the way they should be, in like a natural setting, and not relying on us to provide food. But obviously as tourists, you're like, oh my god, I want to see them so bad. Like, we flew all the way to...
Well, especially because orangutans are one of those endangered species that there's a very good chance that if you wait 10 years, you might never see one in the wild ever again. And this is why I highly encourage everyone, to start traveling now. Get your stuff together, and just make it a priority. You might not have the job or the career or the money to be able to take off for 3 weeks or a month and start traveling now, fly to Borneo, but why not make it a priority? It's free to write down your goals. And I guarantee you, if you write down your goals, say, I want to see the orangutans in Borneo within the next year, you will figure out a way to make it happen. And, I mean, life changes quick, right? I mean, did you think that you were going to be here?
And that's what I also want to say is, like, always keep an open mind and try things that you didn't think of before. Like, if you said to me before Borneo, I would have been like, well, that's not on the top of my list, because we think of these highly touristy places that are thrown in our faces all the time. But this is so much more rewarding, actually seeing these animals just the way they are, not like putting on a show. I know a lot of places in Thailand, as amazing as they are, all these animal places, it really is for show. It's for, like, if we think of the Tiger Kingdom or the monkeys there, I mean, I went to a monkey show that was absolutely shocking. The monkey bought me soap for like 20 baht or something, and as a tourist, you feel so impressed because you get to interact with them from like up so close. But at the same time, it's not the way it's meant to be. It's not. That's not the natural setting. And I promise you, it's been so much more rewarding seeing them here in Borneo.
Yeah, it's super cool because you could see it. I think it's a perfect combination of being able to have a pretty much guaranteed, sighting of them, and at a pretty good distance as well. But have them still be wild. Have them, know that they do come because they're being fed, but they have the option to leave, and they sleep in the jungle every night, which is nice. One tip I would give you guys for the orangutan sanctuary is your ticket is valid for both feedings, the morning and the night one, or the afternoon one. Go to both because you really double your chances of some cool encounters, or just seeing different ones that show up. It is very tempting to squeeze all this. Technically you could squeeze in everything we did in Sepalak in one day if you really wanted to, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would spend, we spent 2 nights there.
Yep. And
it was perfect. We did a full 3 days, 2 nights there. Which really isn't that long if you fly all the way across here anyways. Go to both feedings because you're going to experience some cool stuff. And we got really lucky.
Yep. We actually went the morning to the orangutan feeding, which was at, like Johnny said, at 11. And it was beautiful. We were lucky enough to already see 5 orangutans, which I think is more than the norm. But then we also walked to the nursery because, true to the girl I want to see a baby one, obviously. Like, you haven't seen it unless it's small. So I'm like, I want to go see some of the babies. So we got to the nursery and there was none. I think there was one hanging around by himself. And it was cute, but we were like, okay, a little bit disappointed. We wanted to see more. And luckily, we went back to the afternoon feeding as well. Because a lot of people only go to the one and then they've had enough for the day and they carry on to the next.
Yeah, we've seen it.
We've seen the monkeys, it's fine. We've seen the orangutans. Now we're going to see something else. And we were so lucky that we went back because it actually started pouring down with rain, but it also didn't bother us. We didn't have jackets on us or anything, but we just kept carrying on because we knew, like, if you keep sticking to it, we'll get lucky. And we had the most beautiful experience of watching this little orangutan man covering his head with leaves because he was super annoyed by the rain. You could just see he didn't want to get wet at all. And we watched him for like an hour because
he made an umbrella out of leaves.
And it was super entertaining.
Yeah.
I literally didn't want to leave there because it was amazing to see how human-like he is. Like, we were standing there getting wet with him and we didn't enjoy getting like soaked in the rain.
And you can see his face, his emotions.
Yep.
He was very they say that the orangutan is one of the closest primates to human.
Yep.
And you could see it. You could see in his face, his emotions, his actions, making tools, basically literally building an umbrella.
And then we decided to head over after the rain finally stopped and this little man was happy as well. We headed over to the nursery one more time and we got so lucky that literally Johnny was standing 2 meters away, if not closer, to a baby orangutan, and he was just walking up to Johnny because he was curious, just as curious as we were. Like, this little man wanted to find out what's happening. And unfortunately the staff told us, please come inside, because the fact of the matter is they do want to eliminate like human monkey like interaction and contact because they want these animals to live by themselves and be on their own. And even though we think it's cute holding his hand, it's probably not in his best interest. So we was exceptionally lucky there, getting so close and up personal with them. Yeah,
and it was, that was another experience in itself, is just seeing these apes, up close and personal, and just having them walk by us, basically. So, orangutan sanctuary, definitely
a must
do. But what I personally enjoyed even more than orangutans, first let's talk about our least favorite monkey.
Oh my gosh, the cheeky little bastards.
Yeah.
What are they called? I want to know because I know what they're called. Something with a cow at the end because that's all I remember. Macaws or macaques. Some people say macaques and some people say macaws.
Yeah.
So
there's one of those. I say macaque. But I'm probably not saying it right, so it doesn't matter. These guys are cool because they're very active, but these are little gangsters of the forest. Yep. They will come and jack everything. They'll jack your hat, your sunglasses, they'll jack the orangutan's food, and they're cheeky little things. Not in a good way.
And they're in packs, so they come prepared, like 20 of them at the same time.
Yeah, if they had a knife, they'd cut you. you know, and
they're very entertaining to watch though, like, but they're very cheeky.
So our favorite monkey was
By
far was one that a lot of people just don't go to. You know, and here's the other problem with people that travel for short amounts of time and don't have the freedom of time. You know, they might have a job where they get, let's say, a 1 week or 2 week vacation. They're trying to pack all the stuff into the short vacation, so they only go to the highlights. So in Thailand, for example, a lot of people will go to Chiang Rai to see the White Temple, which is a beautiful place for especially take photos. But while they're there, they could have also went to the Black House, which is even more beautiful, I think. You know, and it's definitely more of an experience. And I would say 9 out of 10 people that I've met who went there, you know, have been there, never heard of it, or they say I would say almost all of them just say they don't have time for it. So if you want to know about that, search for it on my blog. But here, the one place that a lot of people skip is the...
Do they skip the proboscis monkeys?
A lot of people do.
That does not make any logic. Like, that doesn't make sense to me whatsoever, because the proboscis monkeys are insanely unique in features that you do want to see them up close. Like, I mean, when I saw them in pictures, I was like, I don't actually think they exist.
Yeah.
Like, this looks like it's been edited. Like, this doesn't look real.
And to me, just as cool. I think the reason why a lot of people skip it is because, first, it's further out, so you kind of have to drive, you know, spend half a day or a day driving out. But second is, everyone's heard of orangutans. Most people have never heard of proboscis monkeys. I know when I was in the US, that word has never entered my vocabulary. So it's one of those things where, you know, people want to go to Thailand to go to Phuket because they've heard of Phuket.
Yep.
No one wants to go to Koh Lanta, even though Koh Lanta is 10 times better. And there's the same thing with these monkeys. Yep. So tell me about these proboscis monkeys.
So the proboscis monkeys are known as the biggest nose of Borneo. And maybe if we say that, it gives you an indication of which monkeys they are. But they have these profoundly massive noses that is very penis-like, but it's their nose. And it's got the same function, I always want to say. So it appeals to the ladies. Yeah, and... So, I see you want to interrupt me over there.
No.
I see you getting so eager. You're like, let me talk about the penis nose. Like,
so I'm sure you've seen the photo now. It's probably going to be the cover for this episode, just because it is that cool of a monkey that I'm going to use that for my cover for everything. If I was still on Tinder, that would be my photo.
I have the biggest nose, ladies.
Yep. So only the males have these big nose. The females are actually pretty cute. You know,
yeah,
the baby,
they're cute. They have like
and the babies are exceptionally cute. They have small little noses and blue faces until they're a certain age. But the males have a giant penis on their face.
Yep.
And the bigger their nose, the more attractive they are.
Yep.
And and
they get multiple ladies for having this nose.
Yep. So the way that the proboscis monkey, I guess, network works is there can only be one alpha male in the group. I mean, not even alpha male, he's just the male. And he has a harem of women, or female monkeys. And it can be 10, 15, 20.
So the biggest group that they say that they've seen here was one male with 33 wives. And now all of them have babies, so you can just imagine how many of them you see at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, I have enough trouble trying to keep one girl happy. I don't know about 32. I don't know how they have time for it. I mean, because
you don't know about 2, never mind 32. Like, how?
And we saw, you know, one of the cool things is, the other thing I would recommend is watch the documentaries of these animals before you go, because then you really learn about it. At most
you
places,
have more respect for them if you know something about them. Like,
definitely. And at most places, actually all 3 places that we mentioned, the sun bears, the orangutan sanctuary, and the proboscis monkey one, they show you videos of like mini documentaries of it, and then you really get to know, you know, the behind the scenes, the history of it, and you know what to look for. So when you do see the animal in person, you appreciate it so much more, and you start seeing all the little details.
The one thing that was surprising to me about the proboscis monkeys is how big they are. Because if I think of monkeys, a lot of time I think of small, like, monkeys flying between the branches, but they are, I literally took a photo next to a male, and he's my size. He is a massive fella, and they're strong. They're very strong. I mean,
the coolest thing about them is the way they run. Like, most monkeys are light, you don't really hear them moving. You know, they might rustle the branches, but these guys, they run like big cats.
They're like cheetahs.
And the further they run, it almost seems like they pick up speed and they pounce, almost like zombies, right? Not the normal slow zombies, but the running zombies. And they will pounce on a rooftop, make the biggest sound, and just fly. I mean, and you could tell they're powerful. They have big muscular thighs. These guys are awesome. And these are another, endangered species that are only found in Borneo.
Yep.
And so we were so lucky to see them up close.
I posted a picture on Instagram and a random girl tagged me in it and she said to me, is that actually real? Like, she didn't know that they exist. Because I didn't know before as well. I said they looked so like fake. Someone had to draw that.
Yeah, and then it's like in your wildest imagination can you draw that out. Mm-hmm. So it's amazing that that's real in real life. So the one thing I wouldn't recommend is don't stay overnight at the Proboscis Monkey Resort because there's nothing to do there. Go for a day trip, spend the whole day there. What we did, and I wrote about this in the blog, is we spent 2 nights over at the Sepalak Jungle Lodge to see the sun bears and orangutans, and then we checked out, went to the Proboscis Monkeys, spent the whole day, left the luggage in the van, in the driver's van, and then from there we went to Sandakan, back to where we flew in from. And we wanted to, so this is kind of where the digital nomad part of it comes in. It's most people, they'll just travel for a week straight and
be exhausted.
They'll be exhausted, they'll see all this stuff, and then they go back to work. As a digital nomad, it's nice that you're location independent, and it's also nice to take a break in between travel activities. So what we did is we spent 3 nights at the 4 Points Sheraton in Sandakan. What do you think of that place?
I want to live there. Yeah. Like, if I have to choose right now, I'd be like, I'm moving in there. It is absolutely, it's got everything you need. Like, it had a beautiful view, a spacious room, it had a gym, it had amazing food. The staff was excellent. Like, I felt like a queen for a few days.
Yeah, it was it was probably one of the nicest hotels I've ever stayed at. And it wasn't that expensive. It was a lot for being in Asia, especially because there was other choices that were a lot less. But I think it was about $66 a night through Agoda on...
it's 2,000 baht. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so around like less than $70. But it had an infinity pool that looked like it was falling into the ocean. Yep. We had, the floor-to-ceiling windows for our view. Huge king-size bed. And the reason why we actually stayed there was because we knew we were going to be in the hotel the whole day. And that's why it was fine. It was justifiable to pay it because we were like, okay,
we're going to use the facilities. We're going to be here the whole day.
So what we did was we would wake up and work poolside. I put up if you follow my Instagram, it's JohnnyFDK. What's your Instagram?
No,
plug it. Okay, maybe I'll link to it. And we, basically would work poolside in the mornings. Kind of manage our businesses. I would manage my dropshipping business. Larissa would help me out with it, and we would work on our new course that we just launched, which we'll get to in a second. And basically, it was nice to just kind of work there, hang out, and in the afternoons we'd use the gym there. Yep. It was a pretty good gym too.
Surprisingly good for hotels.
For hotel gym, but the best thing about it was they have a business center as well with proper office desks, a nice
chairs that are so comfortable,
and the Wi-Fi was okay. It wasn't wasn't the best, but it was usable, and it was free. A lot of hotels now charge like $20 a day to use the internet, which really annoys me. But another travel tip is the Wi-Fi poolside or in your room might not be the best, but if you go to the business center, it's always faster there, and that was our case, right? Yep. All right. So we took nice 3-day break, and we managed to completely finish our second Udemy course together. Yeah. Yay!
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so happy. I'm having the biggest smile on my face now.
Good.
So I'm really proud of it.
So you want to tell everyone about it?
So I think everyone knows about the first Udemy course already. We launched it in August, and it was called Small Talk Networking, and it was really our trial and error thing to the Udemy startup as well, because we didn't know what to expect, and it was our first time as well. But this time we made a course on relationship ready, or getting relationship ready when you are still single. And I feel that even some of the techniques that we discussed can be used for people who are already in a relationship. And I think we decided on this because we were thinking of things that we could possibly, where do we have strengths in, or what can we make courses on that we actually feel that we're going to bring a lot of value to people. And the one thing that we both thought of is that we have an absolutely amazing relationship, but it isn't as easy as it might seem out there for everyone else. We do invest 10x into our relationship. We invest a lot of time, and
And at first I really thought I just got lucky meeting Larissa. I mean, it was kind of all by chance. And, I figured, I was like, maybe that was just time. Everyone should just kind of wait around and eventually meet the right one. But really kind of thinking back, if you guys have read my book, Life Changes Quick, I spent an entire year not dating anyone on purpose so I could work on myself. And it got me relationship ready. And then once I was ready to date, then Larissa came. I mean, literally the perfect girl came into my life. And that's what we summarized in this training course. So you guys don't have to wait a year or, do all this work to become relationship ready, start attracting great people into your life. Because, honestly, one of the best parts of my new journey, it isn't just being location dependent, making money online, traveling, all these things are really cool, but it's being able to do that with a partner, and now my life really feels complete, and I want everybody to have that. And that's why we made this course. And that's why we're going to give you guys this course. Instead of you guys paying the full price for it, I'm going to give it to you guys for $10. That way, you guys, and if you guys want to, if you guys really enjoy it and get a lot out of it, then yes, please leave a nice review afterwards. But this is kind of a gift, and we'll do that for our first course, do small talk. So for the people who are just starting out, they want to know. And here's the thing. I mean, the reason why we started that course is we realized part of being successful socially, but in business and even as a traveler, a lot of it is just having the confidence and the social readiness to be able to talk to anyone. Yep. And sometimes we forget how valuable of a skill that is. But especially now that we've had that course out, and all these people who bought the course, paid full price for it, left great 5-star reviews, and we know what, this is stuff that people really need to learn. Yeah. So if you guys want to sign up for this, we'll have a link on the show notes. But basically, if you look for the course Relationship Ready, the coupon we'll make for it is Monkey. How about that?
Monkey, I love it.
Okay.
And this is not only, I want to say, I actually do feel that it's not just for people who's like, I want to meet the perfect partner. This is a personal development course that you can really, you get it to invest into yourself as well. So absolutely everyone will get something out of it. It's not like we are telling you, do X, Y, and Z, and Angelina Jolie's gonna knock onto your door and that's how you're gonna find the perfect match. This is by you taking the responsibility and investing back into yourself. So full guarantee that it will work. I know it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, this course is the stuff in there is super valuable. And I promise you're gonna get so much out of it. If you know anyone that's single, feel free to share the link with them as well. We just want to get it out to everyone, and eventually. It's one of those things where eventually I know we will make money from it. I mean, eventually we can start charging full price for it once, we start having a lot of discussions in it, because there's a discussion board inside once we start getting all the reviews up. But right now we're thinking more long term. Yep. We know people are going to like it, so we don't mind just giving people access to it.
And it really is not only about that for us. We are so happy, and we have tons of friends who's in really good relationships as well that I know in Chiang Mai. And you just see a different part of someone when they have someone to share these moments with. Like Johnny said earlier, if I had to do this Borneo trip by myself, it would have been a completely different experience. But because I have him here and I know that this is a lifelong commitment, I have someone who's in 30 years from now is going to look back with me, and I'm going to be able to remind him of this awesome experience, and all those memories will come back. That's the goal for us, is that we want people to find someone who they'll have a true connection with, and that's something that's really going to last.
Yeah. And if you want to be more productive with your online business, I promise you, by not going out chasing tail every weekend or every weeknight even, not going out on Tinder dates and going out to the bar to try to hook up, I promise you guys will be so much more productive in all of your goals. So one, really big thing for me was I decided, for a year not to date, and I started working on my fitness, I started working on my online business, and both of those skyrocketed. I mean, I accomplished all my goals way faster, in that year than I ever would have if I was also trying, going out and dating. And after meeting Larissa, same thing. Now I know I have a great girlfriend to go home to at night, where during the day I'm focused on work, I'm focused on building my business, I'm focused on, having a routine to go to the gym. So I really think that it's having a good partner, especially someone who has the same mindset as you. It helps tremendously. So Larissa, thank you for sharing all these same interests as me, because it makes my life so much easier.
Thanks, baby. So my big turning point was that I was actually in a job that I really didn't like that much, and when I look back at it now, it's like I had relationships, but there was absolutely no way I was going to make someone else happy when I was sobbing away at night and I was miserable myself. So quitting my job was the first step of actually me opening doors to actually meeting a partner that I could invest in and actually see a return on that investment as well.
So a few months ago, you were teaching English in Chiang Mai, and I know that you really enjoyed it the first year. I would say that's actually very similar to my story, where when I first came, I was teaching scuba diving, and I really enjoyed it as well.
Yep.
But eventually, it ties you down, and you don't enjoy it as much anymore. It becomes more frustrating than new and exciting.
And especially now that I've met you, I was like, well, I'm not going to let you run off every month by yourself. I want to spend my life with you, and I want to experience these things with you, and unfortunately the teaching doesn't allow for it.
Yeah, and teaching gives more holidays and longer breaks than any other job, but it's still so much better to be able to take off every 2 or 3 months for a couple of weeks and be able to work. I mean, literally right now we have no Wi-Fi and hardly any electricity, and we're able to record this podcast in the middle of the jungle. So it's one of those things where, if you have the time and location independence, your life is good. And what's insane is, tomorrow when we do log into our email and our accounts, we would have made money while being here in the jungle. We're going to have more sales for both our Udemy courses, more sales for my shipping store, and basically it'll pay for whatever money we spent today being, while hanging out, with these awesome animals. I mean, literally, I don't know if you noticed this, right in front of us. Do you see what's on that pillar? It's a brown stick bug.
Wait, which
do you see it right there in front of us? Oh my gosh,
it's right in front of us. That's insane.
It's been sitting there the whole time. And we have, literally so right now we're actually supposed to be on a jungle trek, on a walk through this rainforest. And the reason why it got cancelled
is because the elephants are way too close. We were lucky enough to spot them at least. We were on the boat while we saw them. But they feel that it might be a little bit too dangerous to go walk around. But I'm happy because we got to see them, and we got to see them really close. And
how cool of a problem is that? Is that we can't go, we had to cancel activity because wild pygmy elephants are roaming around right behind our resort. Or not, this is not a resort. Our lodge. Our lodge. But also what's really cool is, going from staying in the jungle resort, right, and then going to stay at the Sheraton in this super nice hotel, and then back here to this, basically we are in a tiny cabin. It's what do they call it? Chevet Lodge or something. Well, I don't know, a little chalet, I guess.
It's literally just enough to fit. It's 2 single beds, unfortunately, but we made a plan. But it's literally just big enough for the 2 single beds, and then we have a private bathroom at least. But the bathroom is kind of indoor outdoor. It's covered, which is fine. But that's honestly, I kind of like it. Yep. I wouldn't want to live there, full time. I wouldn't want to stay here for more than a couple nights. Space. Yep. He'll die. Yeah, but you know what? I think it's really cool being able to come into nature, see all this stuff, and then go and stay at a nice place again. So, that, to me, living this location-independent lifestyle allows for that, where, and instead of packing it all in a week or two, look, this bird's chirping everywhere now. Pretty. All right.
this is what I want everyone to do by this time next year. Yeah. All right. I want everybody to have a location independent business.
And I can really I can be the voice of saying I know how it feels to say, but I can't. Because when Johnny mentioned it to me, he's like, well, in a few months, you can quit your job and you can become location independent. I was like, you are living in a different world, because I'm not there yet. I don't have the skills yet to work online, because everything I've studied, I studied psychology, I specialize in the field of industrial psychology, and I've always thought of going into coaching, and never in my mind did I ever think it's going to be online though. I was like, well, I'm going to head back to South Africa and I'm going to have to start it that way. But now both my world, dreams are coming true, in the sense that I'm doing exactly what I wanted to do, but it allows me the freedom of doing it location independent.
Welcome to the new age, right?
Yep.
There's no reason not to have location independent job. I can have a furniture store in LA or San Diego, and have to buy inventory and hang out there 7 days a week to make sure my employees aren't stealing from me. To make sure that I have enough inventory, that make sure that I have sales. And then every time someone buys something, I make a profit from it. Or I can have that exact same furniture store online, and when someone buys something, I just forward that email to my supplier and they send it to them. And that's it. I don't have to carry any inventory. I don't have to deal with paying rent every month. It's a million times better. I honestly don't even know why anyone would open a physical location for anything anymore. Be online, be location independent, see the world. I want everyone to experience this, because it is unbelievable.
It really is healthier for anyone, as a being. My mindset has changed completely since I've been able to see different places and move around from time to time, keep things fresh and adventurous. I think it's insanely healthy for our relationship. We always have something to look forward to, we always have stories to tell each other, we're always meeting new people. Our life it doesn't get boring.
Yeah, I 100% highly agree. And I think a lot of it started with us deciding, let's write down our goals. Let's figure out what we really want and how to get there. And it's still a lot of work. It hasn't been easy. I think it almost we make it sound like it's easy. Like you just decided, hey, I'm just gonna quit my job, and now guess what? I'm making money online. I'm location dependent. But it wasn't that easy, right?
No, it's not that easy. But I think the hardest initial step for me was the mindset behind it all, and actually getting the courage to leave. Because once I did that, I was like, well, now I have to make a plan, and now I'm just gonna do something. Doesn't matter what it is. I'm going to try out everything.
And we tried a lot of things.
So I'm currently reading Grant Cardone's book. It's called The 10X Rule. Mm-hmm. And the one thing he mentions in there, which I completely agree with, is he says, just say yes to everything in life. Don't turn down anything. And the first online paid job I had was writing a travel guide to Chiang Mai. And it definitely wasn't something that necessarily I found a lot of passion in it, or something that I would love doing, but it was an opportunity to make $50 online, and that's why I said yes, because I was like, I want to be able to say that I've made $50 online.
And I always tell people that first check that you get, when it's in your hand, it's real. Basically that is the moment you're like, I am an entrepreneur. I can do this. Because if you can make $50 every day while working online, how much is that per month?
$50. It's in the 30,000 baht a month.
Yeah, it's $1,000 a month, right? Or something like that. I don't know. My math's not the best, but whatever it is, if you hear that gong in the background, that actually means that we are ready for our nice lunch. So we're gonna wrap this up. But really, what it is you didn't. We're still figuring it out together. We are working on many businesses together. We started Udemy because it was something that we can do together on our free time,
and we have a massive passion for it.
And we really enjoy it.
I really love making those courses. It's something I thoroughly enjoy. I have a passion for helping people. I really enjoy just doing something, not just making money, but actually doing something that I feel warms my heart to my soul.
So definitely check out that course, Relationship Ready and Small Talk. Use coupon code MONKEY to get it for $10 only, and there'll be links to it in the show notes on my blog. And keep in touch, because now that Larissa has been on the show, I want her on a lot more, because we are doing so many things on the back end together. So we were getting into Amazon FBA. We were watching all the videos, and we did the research, and we kind of just decided it was like this is gonna be a lot more work than we actually initially planned out to be. And I mean, honestly, I got a little bit stage fright because I'm looking at products on Alibaba, and I'm thinking, do I really want to invest $7,000 or $8,000 importing these products into Amazon and have to deal with it, and not knowing if it's going to work or not? And that's when we decided to pivot and say, you know what, I know that dropshipping makes money because I already have a store up. Larissa knows the back end of it because she's been helping me with my stores now.
And I just started with Anton's course as well.
What do you think of it, by the way?
Everyone should sign up for it. I mean, I literally know, I have such little knowledge on dropshipping, but he explains everything so thoroughly that anyone with the most basic of information can start and just go with the process. It's...
So we're in kind of stage 1 of that. We're just still doing our niche research, but follow along my blog. Keep listening to the
Come
podcast.
Come visit us in Chiang Mai or somewhere else in the world.
Yeah, and we will, basically let you know. We'll keep progress. Actually, you know what? I want you to start a progress thread on Anton's forum as well.
Okay.
Mine will really help me, keep clarity, keep my goals intact, but also help other people as well when they're starting out.
Yep.
So if you guys aren't a member of his course and you're looking to do some kind of online business, we highly recommend it. If you want to sign up, there's links to it on my blog. If you want to go through my recommended resources page on johnnyft.com, I have discounts to a lot of the things that you're going to need when you get started, like 20% off Shopify, who's a partner and a sponsor of this podcast. So thank you to Shopify. And sign up. Keep in touch. Larissa?
See you guys soon.
See you guys.
Thank you for listening to the Travel Like a Boss podcast. If you want to hear more, including the bonus How to Choose the Perfect Niche episode, join our mailing list at travellikeabosspodcast.com. See you next week, and remember, if you want to travel like a boss, you need to be your own boss. So start your online business today and start living the lifestyle you've always dreamed of.